Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again here with another reaction to Mr. J. Cal, former 2-2 SAS operator who was charged with murder on the Sean Ryan show. Thank you very much to those that have been sending through their comments. This will be a few weeks down the track by the time you see this particular reaction, but I have received those comments saying that J. Cal's interviews and conversations on the GBRS site and channel have been taken down, which is unfortunate because I had his walk and talk with DJ Shipley to do a reaction to on my list, but hey, it is what it is. But hopefully that gets sorted out and is able to be put back up later on down the track. So anyway, let's jump back into this.
Because of what Gwyn Jenkins did to us and our team. And, you know, I just want to be able to sit there here and put my side across, our side across, because nobody's asked us for our narrative. And yet it keeps coming out in the press. And now everyone's jumping on the bandwagon saying this and saying that. I want to clear a few things up and I want to get the truth out there so that people should be held accountable. And this, my primary goal for this is nothing more than this should never, ever happen again to anyone, because it's absolutely disgusting. It's a disgrace. And it's something that we need to address, because we can't just turn a blind eye to this, which is exactly what he wants. Okay. So
Gwyn Jenkins, you bloody twat. I think I said that in the other one anyway, one of the other reactions. But I'm grateful that, and I don't think it will get taken down, but I'm grateful that Sean Ryan has had this interview and this time with J. Cal, because I doubt, fingers crossed, touch wood, I hope. I'd like to think that his interview, that J. Cal's interview on the Sean Ryan show, I'd like to think that this won't get taken down. I'm not sure why it has to be taken down on the GBRS site in terms of stuff that he's done on there, but hey, it is what it is. We're still here, and Sean Ryan still got the interview up, so we'll keep rolling on.
If he does watch this and feels uncomfortable about it, good. That's a good thing, because you should do. You know, he really should feel uncomfortable, and I want him to know the impact, because he's too arrogant to reach out after multiple times. And, you know, this really is a last resort, because I've written, and I'll tell you in detail.
I think, sorry, just before he gets into that, I think this Gwyn Jenkins will be sounds like too much of a coward to reach out, to be fair. What a dickhead. And he probably, he would feel too uncomfortable to even sit down and watch it, because he probably knows that it's going to put an even bigger spotlight on him. Gwyn Jenkins. Gwyn? Anyway, Jenkins.
Multiple letters from my solicitor, my lawyer, to the Royal Military Police, to the Serious Investigation Board, to Director Special Forces, to basically anyone and everyone. We've written letters saying hurry the process up, or at least allow people that are under investigation for military, you know, incidents in the military. How can I be blocked from traveling? Make that make sense. Like, I'm innocent until proven guilty anywhere in the world.
Supposedly, until the media get their hands on it, and then they start spinning up whatever narrative they want. We've seen plenty of examples of that, and it's managed to convince a heck of a lot of people. Hey, do I have all the answers for that? No, I don't. There may be some truth to it, and maybe time will tell, and that truth will come out in terms of stuff that's come about from the Australian side or even here in the UK side. But until that comes out, man, it's amazing, eh? The influence and the power that the media has to cast this massive shadow over individuals and or an organization, and basically be for those individuals and or their units or organizations to be judged as guilty before the process has even gone through. Yeah, disappointing. Even more disappointing that people would be that way inclined to jump on board that bandwagon without having all the evidence or seeing bits and pieces that fit in with how their mind works and what they think must be true, and then just casting judgment, throwing stones from their bloody couch, stuffing their face with potato chips.
But yet we're being treated as guilty until proven innocent, which is not only morally wrong, but how can we treat service personnel like that? Where's the level of respect or compassion for us and our families? There is none. So it needs to change. So that's the reason we're doing this. And I want to highlight the actual emotional effect it's had on people. And we've never been able to have our say. And yet we have to sit there and watch the whole world read about this and read about that in all the press. And we're supposed to just sit there and do nothing.
They destroyed your name.
They destroyed it, yeah. They destroyed us. They tried to destroy us. But we're still in the fight, for sure. I wrote a letter to my MP, which is a member of parliament. So a politician, essentially, who wrote a letter to the veterans minister, who basically, and I'll read you his response, said, yeah, there's a charity out there somewhere. That's what we're supposed to be doing. If he needs help, ring this hotline, basically. No empathy there. Bearing in mind, this guy used to be in the special forces.
Man, that just reminds me of Jay's comment earlier. I forget which reaction it was. And he said British officers are something along the lines of geared or groomed towards becoming politicians, and the American officers are geared towards being leaders. That was his take, and based on his experience and observation. And it's a cool observation. So hearing this guy, he's written to this MP, Member of Parliament, who was a former SF operator by the sounds of things, thinking, okay, this guy will probably have a bit more understanding. He's been on the ground, most likely, been involved in stuff. Reach out to this person. And just a bit of a cold shoulder, eh? Far out. Take a good hard look at yourself, eh?
What's significant about him is everyone knows how unfair and how poorly we've been treated. Do you remember I told you the guy who was blown up in Afghanistan? John, who lost 2 legs and an arm. He's a close friend of that veterans minister. And he wrote him a personal message, and basically he got the same short shift reply of, yeah, process is process, just wait out. So I've tried everything. I literally could not have tried more. I've written letters to lawyers. I've written letters to politicians. Years of trying to get some resolution on this. Years of trying to get some sort of clarity on it, of trying to be able to move on with our lives. It's significant to the point it's affected me. For 9 months, Sean, I couldn't earn a penny. So when I left the military, I didn't leave with much. I'm not a rich man, but I spent all my pension, all of my savings, maxed out credit cards. I was living in Airbnbs. There were times where I didn't even have enough money to get that, and I was sleeping in my truck. Like, I'm not joking, Sean. It's been a fucking nightmare for the last 14 months. 3 days I was supposed to come back for. Nowhere to live. No source of income. I couldn't earn money from GBRS because I didn't have a visa, and we wanted to protect the integrity of what we were doing because we're professional. So I'm using everything I can at this point. I'm getting no support. The only support that I got was from the Regimental Association, and they threw me some money in order for me to basically put a roof over my head in an Airbnb and do some laundry. That was basically what we got. So I'm thankful for those guys for doing that. But they're not part of MOD. They're a regimental association. And
it's awesome that they did that. Trying to do what they can. I'll jump back into this because maybe it's
an old boys network. But that's not good enough. That's not enough. The loss of income, not being able to earn money, let alone having to spend all of my own just to keep a roof over my head, essentially.
That's what I mean. Surely there must be a way for him to be compensated. I know Jay would probably say that's not what he's doing it for, because he's outlined what his purpose and intent is of bringing this to light, and that is so that it never happens again. That'd be great if it never happens again, but bloody hell, if history's taught us anything, it probably will happen again. Just like conflict, just like wars, just like greed, just like hidden agendas, etc. But man, surely, hopefully, there's a way he's able to get some sort of compensation for loss of income for that period of time based on what he would have and or had the potential to earn during that time had he been allowed to. I'm no lawyer, but far out, surely there's got to be somebody out there that can help him out with that stuff, and hopefully he's getting the help and support that he needs.
Tens, hundreds of thousands probably at this point is loss of income and expenditure from my own personal accounts, just trying to survive day to day. I'm not after a fucking penny, and I want to get that out. I don't care about money. I don't care. I just want this to never happen again. And I want people that are involved in this to be able to look themselves in the mirror and go, yeah, we need to do better in the future. That's what this is about. This is not me spitting.
Nah, they should not nah to him. I agree with what he's saying, but he 100% should get some sort of compensation. But again, he's just reiterating what he's already said, This is not about him getting compensated for loss of income and all that sort of stuff. He just, still trying to serve. He just genuinely doesn't want this to happen to anybody else, whether they're SF or whether they're military. Imagine that. You're willing to go to conflict, risk everything. You've got a track record, more than a decade long of track record of going in and out, rotating in and out of country, operation after operation, service after service, for all those years. And now there's this investigation happening on one singular event, which has been thrown out and proven that it was all incorrect and wrong anyway. No apology, no compensation for the loss of income, no recognition of the damage that this would have done and has done to him physically, mentally, emotionally, the family impact, the reputational impact of not only him and the other individuals, but the regiment itself as a whole. Far out. Jenkins, what a legacy, you bloody twat. Disappointing.
In my dummy out, or having a Prince Harry pity party situation. It's not that.
You're not here to victimize yourself.
I'm not here to do that. I'm
looking out for the future of SAS operators.
Yeah, 100%. This can't happen again. And it's all good and well saying it won't, but it won't. It will, if we don't change it, or if it doesn't get voiced. And it's my time now. It's my time to have my say, because for 3 years I've had to sit by and watch people destroy the integrity of what we were doing, attack my team and drag my regiment's name through the mud for no reason other than personal gain, political gain. And that's not right. The regiment is a fantastic organization. It's an incredible asset to the nation, and it provides an incredible layer of security across the world for not only our civilians and citizens, but our coalition as well. The regiment.
That's awesome. I'm stoked to hear him say that. I think I mentioned in the last reaction that I was relieved when I heard him speaking the way that he is now again about the regiment. So it's clearly not coming from the regiment, but from somebody that was in a very trusted senior position and a position of influence to, do a lot of good and, or in this case, do some real damage. So great to hear. And anybody aspiring to want to join the unit, the regiment, the SAS, whether that's in the UK, whether that's in Australia, whether that's in New Zealand, I've always been an advocate for how fantastic those units are. And for me, I can't see any reason why I would stop being an advocate for it. Even though there's some blinking peanut gallery knobs out there that jump on the channel and say, don't encourage people to join to serve these corrupt masters, etc. Those people, you're entitled to your opinion. Your comments have a place on my channel. They're going to stay there. I'm not deleting them. But you don't get it. You don't understand. We're not doing it to serve the government. That's not part of it. There's something more to it, which I probably can't adequately describe. But those of you that don't know, you don't need to know. And if you're saying, well, explain it to us, there's some things you just can't explain, right? Well, at least for me anyway. And if you can't figure it out, you'll likely never figure it out unless you go through it. So anyway, it's awesome to hear Jay speak about the regiment. And he's right. What a huge asset it is globally, internationally, not just for the UK. The resource and the knowledge bank that it is for other SF units around the world, to have the privilege to go there and do an exchange and spend time there and be embedded and learn from people there within those units and other militaries. It's a huge blessing, man, and long may it continue.
There's a fantastic thing, and dragging it down like this is disgraceful. It's disgusting, and I'm not having that. So these people need to be held accountable. I want to touch on a couple of the points from the guys, because without that, the context is important on this. So we've got everything from the very start to the very end. So first thing I'll read out is from the Colonel.
Just want to acknowledge Sean too. I love how he's just calm, casual, cool, calm, collected, just sitting there, letting Jay have this moment, have this time. And it's just awesome. Salute, respect, Sean. Thank you very much for what you do and this opportunity that you're allowing for Jay to get.
No prosecuting officer. Again, I'm going to leave him out of it name-wise because I've got class and I've got dignity. But I'm going to read this to you. The first word, you, Soldier C, are notified that charges will not be brought against you under Section 1212 of the Armed Forces Act 2006 in respect to the case referred to this authority arising out of the allegations of murder during a deliberate detention operation 3rd, 4th July 2022. The position may change, however, if, for example, further evidence comes to light or a further allegation is made, or there is an appropriate request for the decision to be reviewed in accordance with the Service Prosecuting Authority's Victims' Right to Review policy. That's what we got after 3 years, Sean. That's what we got. So no name, you, Soldier C, not very personal. And then at the end of it, it's a warning. It's not a sorry. It's not congratulations, you didn't do anything wrong. It's a you, Soldier C. How degrading is that?
Ah, right. That is piss poor, man. Whether it's whether you want to use the excuse or it's a formal legal document, it has to be professional. We have to stay in line with whatever the legal jargon speak is. That's crap. For the guys to go through what they've been through for 3 years, to be slapped with that letter, basically you've done nothing wrong, but be warned, like Jay's talking about, but be warned if other evidence comes to light or a further investigation is warranted, then we're going to come back to you again. Just, man, piss poor.
You kind of, it's disgusting. And then at the bottom of it, well, this might change. But no acknowledgement of any wrongdoing there whatsoever. No empathy, nothing. So that's what we got after 3 years. And you can check that out and you can have a look at that. That's some bullshit right there.
So they're still digging in.
Essentially,
if,
yes.
For example, further evidence comes to light or a further allegation is made, or there's an appropriate request for the decision to be reviewed in accordance with Service Prosecuting Authorities Victims' Rights to Review policy.
What that means is it's not over. It's just they haven't got what they need right now. It doesn't tell me. I don't get a warm, fuzzy feeling that I'm going to get left alone here.
Why would they even send this?
So why would they even? Exactly. It makes no sense, right? Does that make sense to you?
It makes no sense.
Good. It's not just me then.
You need to get a lawyer on to give their thoughts and comments on this particular aspect. That'd be cool. I'd be interested to hear a lawyer's reaction to this segment and around this document and or the case or the hearing and stuff of what's going on. They don't need to be a part of the hearing. I'm not asking for that, although if there was somebody that is a part of it that's willing to come out, they probably won't. So I doubt that will happen, but just a lawyer in general who's aware or across what this type of stuff might mean and what it sounds like, because it does sound like, yeah, we just don't have what we have right now, or we don't have what we need right now. So we'll come back to you later on. It's still just on the periphery. So Jay and his team, the way I envisage this based on that letter, is that they can't rest. Like, they're not, also, is it exonerated? They're not, maybe that's a wrong term for something else, but they're not, they can't rest. Like, they're not free to just go, okay, this is 100% behind me now because of that last part of this bloody rubbish letter.
So you're not clear. You're cleared for the time being.
I'm clear for the time being. And I was speaking to the lawyer again, recently, last couple of days, about trying to get my form redacted so it doesn't say under investigation for murder, so I can go and get my visa, so I can go and get on with my life. And there's this whole bullshit process, and they're like, no, it's going to take some time. You've got to do this and that. So I'm either innocent or I'm not. You just told me I am, so give me my form and let me get on with my life. That's it. How long does this go on for? For the rest of my life? I've given enough for my country, Sean. I just want to get on with it, mate. I just want to have a nice life. You know what I mean? I feel like I've earned that. I feel like all my teammates have.
Just open your ears, man. These people, their process. Oh man, disappointing. It would be interesting to see if this happens again to another operator or other operators within the regiment, and potentially the impact that it may have. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but far out. This is heavy, man. It's hard to hear. It's sad to hear that Jay and his team, and he makes some very valid points. He's given enough. He just wants to crack on with his life. He's given all this service to and for these people, and now he just wants to get on with his life, and he can't even do that.
This one here. This is from the Ministry of Defence, from the Veterans Minister. I was sorry to learn of Mr. financial hardship and homelessness. I would encourage him to seek assistance from the Veterans Gateway, which offers support to veterans 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on a range of issues, including housing and finances. The Veterans Gateway can be contacted on a free phone number, and there's a website that you can go and look at. That's from the Veterans Minister, a guy that used to be in the SBS, a guy that used to be one of the squadron. That's what you get.
I think it's and I think it's a case of, yeah, man, that's a guy that used to be in the SBS in the squadron. It's probably one of those, it hasn't happened to me. I'm all right. One okay, stick okay. So the rest of yous, or you guys in your case, go and fend for yourself. Here, call this free helpline number. Man, disappointing, man. Some people there in those positions, Veterans Minister, other MPs within those roles, yeah, got to take a good hard look at themselves, eh? Disappointing. Real poor.
That was in direct response to a letter that I had written, drafted by somebody that is very close to the Prime Minister, who actually wrote his autobiography, via my local politician, a guy who was supposed to help me. We wrote that letter to that local politician, who then forwarded it to this guy, the Veterans Minister, and that's the response I got. A free phone number. And you know what really winds me up about stuff like that is just the sheer cowardness of it, because it's like, we've reached out to that dude twice. Once from a guy whose life I was...
You know what? The minister, this Veterans Minister as well, it go a long way. You got people that are going through difficult times like that have taken the time to write you what I can only assume is a well-written letter, a respectful letter, sent to you seeking support, help. Just take the time to meet with them. Invite them in to wherever you are, go and meet them somewhere, sit down, have a chat, have a listen. I don't think that's easier said than done. I think it just should be done. Right or wrong, that's my 2 cents for it. You know, MPs are busy, veterans ministers are busy. Too busy to help out a veteran that's sacrificed so much already and is now facing these allegations of murder. And you've received a well-written, respectful letter letting you know the situation that they're in and the impact that it's having, and you can't make time to go and have a sit-down chat with them. your priorities are wrong. There's something wrong there.
There to try and help save. So a personal touch and one through a completely professional touch, and get nothing from these people. Not, okay, let me look into it, let me do this. It's just due course, wait out. And that's not good enough. And yet I look around and you're doing expeditions to Mount Everest and this saying that you're for the vet. No, you're not. You're for yourself. And if any of these people have got anything to say, I'm more than welcome to sit down and have this conversation with them. But I've tried to reach out to them on multiple occasions, through multiple sources, through every official channel possible, and get nothing. So if they feel like this is unfair, then they need a reality check. Okay. Let me start working through some of these personal issues that the geezers have faced. Okay. So personal issues, RMP searching of my personal home that I just moved into after telling me they would not search my property, arriving unannounced with multiple cars and cops late in the evening. Telling my girlfriend directly I'd murdered 2 people. Turning our house upside down during their search. Taking personal items from me and my partner, family photos on USB devices that I've still not received back. This one breaks me. Searching my 1-year-old son's nursery bedroom while he was sleeping in his cot. I want them to think about that. Imagine being at home with your new wife and a brand new baby, and all of a sudden military police come knocking at the door. They tell your wife to her face that you're being arrested for murder, and then they turn your house upside down, including the baby's bedroom with the baby asleep. That's what the RMP did to us. How does
I'm going to pause this one here. I'm getting really pissed off just listening to it. Not at Jay, just something that I have no control over. But these RMPs, Royal Military Police, Royal Military Plebs. Disappointing, man. Far out. Not only are you getting it from the supposed head of the Special Operations, who's a coward, you're also getting it from the RMPs. Why the RMPs would be so anal and be such wankers around what they're doing, I have no idea. Maybe they went on selection and failed or something. Maybe they got a bee in their bonnet. Maybe they're just dickheads. Apologies for the language and stuff on this one, and probably the last couple actually. But this is hard to listen to. Feel for Jay and the guys. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It doesn't make sense why the RMPs would be acting the way that they've been acting. Where is that in the process that you got to tell the missus or the girlfriend that we're arresting him for murdering 2 people? Oh man, I understand. People might want to hide things in around their little one, so I understand that. But far out, I have no doubt there are ways, just like medical profession, there's some bedside manner. I'd like to think there'd be some professional blinking house conduct manner from police and or RMPs, in this case not police but the RMPs, for the military in terms of the conduct of their work. Paints a really good picture. Imagine it was you with your missus and your newborn baby, and you got RMPs coming in after being told that this wouldn't happen, and then just coming around unannounced and hooking straight in. Disappointing, and there's some lying right there, lack of integrity and character. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for your time. I apologize for my language on some of the stuff. I don't even know Jay or the guys that are there, but it hurts to know, personally, it hurts to know that somebody like Jay and his team could be treated this way after the dedicated, selfless service that they've given to not only their country, to more so to their unit, to each other, which is what they're there for, to strangers, people in another country, to the coalition, and then their own people, RMPs, and then their own government, their own media, gunning for them. All right, I hope they all have a look at this and just somebody has the guts or the balls to go, man, we need to sort out what it is that we're doing. We're adding to the problem instead of being impartial and trying to do as well as we can, or follow the process the way that it should be followed. Anyway, I don't have the answers, obviously, but appreciate your time once again for being here. As always, the message is the same, man. Regardless of the challenges, difficulties that you may be going through, that you may be facing, some of those can be extremely miserable and hard to endure, but just keep turning up, keep staying in the fight, put one foot in front of the other, take one day at a time. Know that these miserable times, these dark times will not last forever. Reach out and ask for help if you need to. Find those people that that you feel that you can connect with and that you feel will be able to help. And know that it's okay to not be okay. It's 100% okay to reach out and ask for help as well if you need it. But you have to want it too. You have to want things to get better. And if you can start with just that, wanting to get out of the difficulties and the hard place that you might be in at this time, then that's typically enough. Then all you need to do is just stay consistent, stay disciplined, keep tuning up, and I promise you, good things will happen. Things will change for the better. So as always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all.